Behind me, on the screen, is a virtual copy of a beautiful painting entitled Equilibrium. Equilibrium is an artwork created in 1998 by the contemporary Asian artist Kim Myung-suk. I'm sharing this painting because I think it illustrates well the biblical concept of faith, a concept central to Genesis 15 and its story of Abraham's trust in God's promise. In the New Testament, Paul will use Genesis 15:6 and Romans 4 to explain his central theme of righteousness and salvation through faith alone. Let's go ahead and run this amazing part of the Abraham and Sarah story on the screen. Roll the video.
After this, the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision.
Do not be afraid, Abram. I am your shield, your very great reward.
But Abram said,
Sovereign Lord, what can you give me since I remain childless, and the one who will inherit my estate is Eliezer of Damascus?
And Abram said,
You have given me no children, so a servant in my household will be my heir.
This man will not be your heir, but a son coming from your own body will be your heir.
He took him outside and said,
Look up at the heavens and count the stars.
And Abraham exercised faith in the Lord, and the Lord reckoned it to him as righteousness. We've just heard the key line. The REB translates it well. Abraham put his faith in the Lord, who reckoned it to him as righteousness. Some translations, such as the NRSV, use the English verb believe, which is okay, but this might sound a bit too heady, a bit too cognitive. So I prefer the REB, the Revised English Bible, along with the NABR, the NJB, and others, who use the verb faith. The NLT tries to have its cake and eat it too. And Abraham believed the Lord, and the Lord counted him as righteous because of his faith. In Hebrew, the root in question is aman. Aman. Now this Hebrew root doesn't mean to believe things that aren't proved or aren't scientific or that can't be tested. That commonplace modern use of faith is foreign to the Old and New Testaments. The Hebrew verb, aman, is about rootedness, composure, stability. If a rock climber has faith in her ropes, she trusts them and calmly stakes her life on them. Climbing up a cliff, her decision will be between trust and fear. Her mind will not be on whether the ropes exist or not, but on whether she will climb with confidence or fear. To my mind, several of these considerations are central to Kim's painting, Equilibrium. If aman in Hebrew means to gain stability, to become stable, then Kim's floating figure symbolizes faith. The painting represents a posture and a relationship in the midst of the depths. The posture entails confidence and calmness. If the figure was panicking and flailing his arms and his legs, he would be sinking and drowning. If the figure was surviving by physical struggle, he would forfeit the grace of buoyancy. Eventually, his strength would fail, and the fathoms below would prevail. Rabbi David Wolpe wrote a book on this. He writes that swimming is about propulsion. One must kick, stroke, move. But floating asks us to be still, to relax, to trust. Swimming is work, floating is faith. As I study the painting, as I think about the abyss below the figure, interiority looms large. The figure is in a precarious, potentially terrifying position. Aren't we all in life? And yet this figure has found composure, balance, and peace. The figure faces down, stares down into the fathoms, fully aware of the yawning abysmal depths below. He is not safe and secure, yet his arms and his hands point straight back, close to his side. His leg muscles are relaxed, their lines curving with the currents. This is what Abraham does in our passage, Genesis 15. He trusts God to bring about what is humanly impossible, overcoming persistent, incurable infertility. Abraham is able to trust God, to relax, to let go, to know that God is completely capable and completely powerful enough to get this job done. Soren Kierkegaard wrote more than once about faith as the experience of being out floating over 70,000 fathoms of water, and yet being joyful. So why the image of 70,000 fathoms? And why is Abraham's model of faith unveiled in the context of the cosmos's unfathomable expanse? Is the unfathomable a part of faith for all of us? It is, but not in the way that most people think. Biblical faith is not merely a mundane trust in ropes or the buoyancy quality of water or the like. The equilibrium of faith is not merely about physical and psychological forces, such as gravity and mindfulness, although faith is fully attentive to them. It is just as much about interiority. Look again at Kim's paintings. These artworks like to explore the inner landscape of the human being, rather than focusing on external objective reality. They are about where we ground our fundamental trust. What I see in this artwork is the human soul ceasing to flail amid workaday struggles and perils and angst, and catching sight of something more vast, more solid, more real, God's cosmic prerogative. This painting, Equilibrium, is not about what is provable or not provable, just as Kierkegaard's 70,000 fathoms of water do not refer to blind trust in some sort of unprovable spiritual world. The 70,000 fathoms, rather, refer to the existential, interiority-focused risk you take when you glimpse God's unfathomable backdrop to banal quotidian life, and definitively resolve your relationship to it by making a decision. That is, by changing your identity and your form of life. The risk that the fathoms of water present is the risk of an ultimate, irrevocable commitment and surrender. Think about the painting, think about Genesis 15, and think about the biblical notion of Aman, faith.